a lot of publicity on this gentleman whose name is Uri, U-R-I, Uri Gellar. He is from Israel, and he's been the subject of a lot of study and quite a bit of controversy. He says that he claims to have been born, as I understand it, with the power of having psychokinetic ability, which is the movement of objects by sometimes not touching them by the mind, but without any physical touching of the objects. He has been on shows where objects have bent, things have broken just by touching them. And he's most interesting. And I tend to be sometimes skeptical, which may not be fair to him. You should probably have an open mind on this. But I would like to mention that he will be at Houston, Texas on September the 20th, and New York City's Town Hall on the 25th. And we hope we're going to see some rather astounding things tonight. Would you welcome, please, Uri Gellar. Nice to see you. Thanks. We have only met...
This scares me.
This scares you? Well, this is we just got some things together here, and as I said, as you progress and do what you want to do tonight, well, you can tell us what you would like to try, and we'll leave it up to you.
I'll try when I'll really feel up to it, okay?
That's what I understand. I have seen you on television before, and you say that sometimes you have to be in a certain frame of mind. You sometimes will pass on a particular experiment because you're honest and say, I don't feel it, or I am not getting the thought. Is that true?
That's true. I really have to be in the mood to do things and have them happen.
Mm-hmm.
And many times, nothing really happens.
Right.
And it doesn't matter if I'm in front of 3,000 people or 10 people, I do my best. And of course, I'm really talking about time now.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, if I had time to bend a nail, an hour, 2 hours, or unlimited time, then it'll happen in the end.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really not only up to my mood, but up to the people who are, watching it and wanting it to happen. And that's it.
Now, a lot of people, you run into this, I'm sure, all the time. Most people, if they don't understand something, tend to be very skeptical.
Well, I heard of many people who do telepathy,
mm-hmm.
But you see, I'm also a skeptic.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for instance, if you'll tell me that there is somebody you know and does it, I'll also want to see to believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I'm sure there are other people. I do not know if there are people who can bend them or break things, but I'm sure I'm not the only one. Maybe there are many people who have these powers and do not
mm-hmm.
know of them, mm-hmm. and it did not develop in them.
You are not saying, now, for example, people have always said a true test would be, I'm going to think of something, and the person turns around and says, you are thinking of. Then that would be incredible, would it not?
You see, I can only do things that you really concentrate on, studied it before, and really project it to me. I cannot sit right here or near you and know exactly what you're thinking about. Mm-hmm. I wish I could, but that's...
Now, this just means we're cutting away for a second because we get a little behind time, but we're going to have, I think, adequate time for you to try what you would like to try tonight, and I'm looking forward to it. I really am.
All right.
Just join us. We are talking with Uri Gellar, who claims and has performed some very astounding feats. We have a variety of objects sitting here. We have also, as per your request earlier this afternoon, and if you want to try that or whenever you feel like it, one of our staff members did some drawings which have been sealed in an envelope, and I'd like you to take your own pace when you feel like you want to try anything.
Right.
Do you want to try that particular experiment first?
When I'll feel free.
When you Sure. And now these objects out here are, we have some nails, we have some keys, we have, as you can see, some forks, we have some aluminum canisters. These are the type of aluminum canisters I guess a roll of film would come in. All of these objects have been supplied by us. You did not bring anything here at all. We have a small, what you would call a file box with a die in it, which I understand sometimes someone can place the die in the box and shake it up, and you have a very good law of averages in naming the number that is on the top spot of the die without touching the box or opening it whatsoever. So, would you like to try anything here?
Why don't you ask some more questions?
Want me to ask you some more questions? You have to kind of
May I ask, when did you discover this power, Uri?
Well, I think I was really born with this power, and...
But when did you discover it?
The first time I was about 7 years old, the psychokinesis power. I would concentrate on my wristwatch, and I could move the hands of the watch just by concentration. Just move them to a completely different hour.
You know, watch would move to a different hour just by...
Yeah, a complete different hour. But then it wasn't always under my control. And then I noticed that later, I mean, it didn't happen all the same day, that one of the hands is bent inside the watch, which you cannot touch by hand. And that was the first time I ever discovered that these powers exist, and I sort of have them and can control them.
Are you feeling in the mood yet? Huh?
Wow.
More questions?
All right,
What's the capital of South Dakota? No, I don't mean to press you.
Okay, let me see. As you know, I told your people what to bring.
Mm-hmm.
One of the experiments I did at SRI is finding a hidden object in 10 cans, of course. I did it repeatedly all the time.
Right. And we have 10 aluminum cans there and 10 over here.
I was already trying to concentrate on them, so I'll try the water.
Now, since we have been gone, let me explain to the audience at home that he has not touched these objects in any way. They were brought over here by our property man. The table was placed here. And while we have been away, you have not touched them in any manner. I will verify that.
So I'll just move my hands over them, and if I'll feel for...
And one of them contains water.
I like to do it the way we'll start eliminating the ones that do not have the water. That's the way I did it at SRI. That's the way I'll try to do it here.
All right, without touching them.
Without touching them, of course.
All right.
Why don't you pick out when I say take this out?
I
take
take
it out.
Right,
So
of course.
that means there's no water in that. I'll try to go down. Now, what I do now is try to have a sort of a feeling where the water is.
Now, you're not touching them at all.
You can see that I'm not.
Well, I don't trust me.
Okay, take this one out. There's no water in. Oops, careful. You must.
Sorry.
Wait, pick them very
Very
delicately
carefully,
up.
right.
Some people call it a sort of a water roulette. But pick gently the middle one out without touching
Take
it.
the middle one out. Remove that. Obviously, that is empty. Excuse me. I'm sorry, I did not mean to do that. I was trying to move over to get a better look.
He is really suspicious, I'm having a hard time with you.
I don't mean to be, Uri. I really don't.
Just keep looking. And I'm telling the viewers, if I miss, then I miss. I won't pass here. Usually I pass if I don't feel for it. But if I'm wrong, then I'll be wrong. I'll also be a little disappointed, but that's the way it goes if I'm pressed. See, Johnny, what happens here, you can see that there's nothing put on here. I'm not
Yes, I understand.
trying to make it longer. I'm trying to feel. If there's no feeling, then I can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Wait. Okay, let me rest a little, all right?
All right.
I'm surprised because before this program, your producer came and he read me at least 40 questions you're going to ask me.
Well, I can ask you all kinds of questions if you'd like me to ask you questions.
I have to have time. And, give me a little more time.
All right. We'll cut away from a commercial, and I will verify, and everybody in the studio will verify that nobody will touch the objects, okay? We're back. How are you feeling, all right?
Fine. I feel fine myself.
In other words, this is something you just have to feel, and you can't be pressed on.
That's it. It can be pressed, and I'm sorry if That's it. Okay, eliminate this one also.
Eliminate that one.
Good.
All right.
I already had my feeling on the first one. I feel something from it, but
You're not
I'm
sure?
not sure.
All right, you've got 7 more there.
Yuri?
Yeah.
Let me ask you something. If someone, like, suppose I felt that also, is that a supporting thing?
No, you see, because I have to come down to it myself. I mean, you can't choose for me. You see, there's actually, again, I'm saying there's no guesswork here.
But you mentioned something. You said that the audience helps you concentrate, if they help you think about
Oh, yeah, it helps. It helps to a limited extent, but I'm the one who will have to choose from here, not you.
Now, so in these demonstrations, Yuri, very
Yes.
often you say you do fail.
Oh, well, you
And
see...
do the audiences accept
let me tell you this.
Do they accept it?
Yes, I don't force anybody to. First of all, I don't force anybody to come to my appearances and believe me. You see, there it is, and I'm trying to do and succeed. Usually, of course, I don't walk into an audience and they tell me, "Here, we laid down 20 cans, find it." I can't work that way. Neither where I do the experiments. I have time. I sit down. You feel, do it. Now, in an audience, I feel much more free. I know that nothing will happen to me if it won't happen, but really to my...
Would you like to go on to the other experiment, the one where we made the... someone drew an object and it's double sealed in the envelope, or would you like to continue with this?
Well, let me try. This one is not over yet. I'm going to come back
sure
to it.
not.
Can you take this spoon in your hand?
Put this spoon in my hand. This one.
Take it and hold it like that. Hold it no, open it and put your other hand on it, gently, like that. Or I won't touch this. No, turn it back. Other we lift your hand, and lift your hand and put your finger here. Now, I'll put my hand over your finger. Tell me if you feel, and press it, like, feel the whole, tell me if you feel anything coming from my hand. You have here something written on your hand.
Yeah. It was
that
a name
your
that I
name?
want to forget, yes. That I never used.
I hope I won't bend this man, whoever it is. What I'm trying to do is bend the spoon under his finger. Wherever
I feel heat.
good. Heat is usual. I mean, everybody has a sort of a body heat coming. Tell me if you feel anything. Tell me if you feel your hand somehow sinking into it gently. And I'm not touching him.
Yes.
Good. Okay, gently lift. I'll hold it here. Gently lift up. You see if it's bent there. Yes.
Yes, it is. It is.
Yes. It's bending more. Can you see?
It is very much bent, I can say.
Now where?
It was very straight.
It was straight. I hope the camera can focus on this. Oh, it's.
It does look like there's a slight bend in
it'll
it.
keep bending. It bends more. Usually it bends more after it happens. And this is this is one of the thickest point of the spoon. Well, you can definitely see and feel it. And you felt it.
Yes,
sinking
it is.
somehow.
Yes, I did. Yes.
Okay, now of course this is not a big bend, Johnny. Before the show, one of your video man brought me a key, and I did it for him. Completely bent to, I'd say,
He showed it to me,
40
yeah.
degrees. But there, I'll put it here, and it'll keep going. Look,
Do we have
there
to-
I had no.
Can we cut away again and still come back here?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, we'll be right back after another word from one of our sponsors. Right, we're back. Uri was telling me you don't feel what, strong
I
tonight?
don't
Is that
feel strong. It's not all tonight. Right now, I'm feeling being pressed, and then I can't.
Well, I'm not
I can't
trying to
like
press you. I really not.
No, you're only telling me, well, will you try that or that or that?
Well, I thought that was the idea of no, I'm not trying to put you down. I didn't mean that patronizingly at all, because I have seen you on shows, and I thought the idea was to show, if you possibly could, some of the things that you claim you can do. And I certainly don't want to press you, and if you don't feel like you can't do it tonight, or don't wish to try, I certainly don't want to make you feel uncomfortable. I'm not trying to be skeptical. I would love to see these things. I really would.
Right.
Is there anything else that appeals to you? Now, if I'm pressing again, well, for example, now you asked us before the show and this afternoon for one of our staff members to draw on a couple of cards and seal them in an envelope, which we have done.
Yes. Well, let me tell you again. This didn't bend much, and right now here I'm stuck. I don't feel for it more, so I don't want to be stuck either on an envelope.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather tell you that many people are skeptical about these things. They see something happening, and then they want to see it closer and closer. There have been many people running and saying that they can duplicate what I do. Well, I can only say that if I'm on stage and people see me from far, they can always say that there is some sort of a sleight of hand or trickery here.
That's true.
But I've been working with science quite a lot, and by doing what you see here under controlled conditions, because this is not a controlled condition.
What do you mean?
Well, this is not a controlled condition. What I mean is, for instance, in experiments, it's covered with bell jars, and there are cameras running, and many scientists looking at every point, although you're trying to do the same, but this is really not a controlled condition. But again, it's quite difficult for me, and I won't go on something that I don't feel strong for.
All right. Well, it doesn't leave us much, does it?